Hello and welcome to Mitv Primetime News, coming to you live from our broadcast studio here in Lagos. Hi, I'm Teresa Adeyemi. We begin the news tonight with the top stories. President Buhari canvasses debt cancellation at Onga. From the foreign scene, Huawei Meng Wanzhou to be freed in U.S. deal. Sport, Anthony Joshua, Usyk intends stare down ahead of heavyweight fight. Now the news in details. President Muhammad Buhari has called for the extension of the debt repayment timeline for developing countries, especially those hit by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is as he lamented the countries such as Nigeria spend the majority of their revenues in debt servicing, leaving little for infrastructure development and other essential aspects of the economy, such as healthcare and education. Buhari said this on Friday in New York during his address at the 76th section of the United Nations General Assembly. In his address, the president said that there is an urgent need for debt repayment extension for developing countries who are still recovering from the pandemic and also struggle with liquidity challenges. He also called for an inclusive agenda that would build resilience and stability against future shocks to deliver on the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals.
Long shut down, it is imperative to underscore that no one is safe until everyone is safe. Mr. President, Nigeria remains deeply concerned over the illicit trade, transfer, and circulation of small arms and light weapons. Their excessive accumulation and uncontrolled spread in many regions of the world are having devastating humanitarian and socio-economic consequences, especially on the continent of Africa. It is on this note that my delegation calls for the worldwide application of the Arms Trade Treaty.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN attributed the success recorded so far in the battle against insurgency to the crippling of terrorism financing. Speaking on the sidelines of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly UNGA in New York, United States, the minister restated that Boko Haram had been decimated to a large extent. He also hinted at the possibility of filing fresh charges against Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, popularly called Sunday Igboho. On funding of insurgency, Malami said the terrorist funding and financing as it did be crippled substantially and that eventually translated to some major improvement being recorded as far as crippling the strength of terrorists is concerned within the nation. Malami said the federal government has identified those who are responsible for financing terrorism in the country. According to him, an aggressive investigation is being conducted that is positively impacting the fight against terrorism in the country. Malami would not disclose details of the ongoing investigation because it will undermine the sources being recorded.
Reassure Nigerians about this?
Well, I think the assurances are on the ground. The assurances associated with the fact that the $322 million earlier on recovered were what was indeed deployed in the social investment program of the federal government, program that affects the program that was intended to empower people, particularly as it relates to earn power and associated programs, inclusive of trader money, inclusive of associated programs that have to school feeding programs as well. So in terms of touching the lives of the Nigerians, I think that 322 million naira impacted positively. And then if you are talking of the infrastructure as well, the fact that the $311 million that was subsequently recovered from Switzerland was indeed deployed in Kano, Abuja-Kano highway, Lagos-Ibadan highway, second Niger bridge, is a testimony to the fact that these monies being recovered at the instance of the federal government are indeed effectively and efficiently being utilized for the development of the nation, for supporting the poor, and indeed bringing about changes in terms of poverty eradication as a program of the federal government.
The House of Representatives unveiled plans to conduct a detailed investigation into the leakage of classified security documents to the public. The resolution was passed sequel to the adoption of a motion on the need to address leakage of classified security documents to the public, sponsored by Honorable Samuel Adejare. Adejare, who expressed grave concern over the protracted security challenges ravaging the country, frowned at the level of sabotage of ongoing efforts aimed at ending myriad security challenges. It said that the House notes the recurring incident of leakage of classified security documents to the public through various social media platforms, online print media, and other sources, which are jeopardizing the fight against insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and other crimes in the country.
And report back within 2 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
And those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it.
The federal government has alerted the general public to heightened security activities preparatory to the event marking the country's 64th independence anniversary. The alert was contained in a statement issued in Abuja on Friday by the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. The minister, however, urged residents of the Federal Capital Territory and its environs not to panic and to go about their legitimate activities. He said residents are enjoined to report suspicious person and movements to the security agencies. The Federal High Court in Abuja will on November 30th deliver judgment on a suit by deposed Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, challenging his banishment to Awe in Nasarawa State. Sanusi was disposed after a resolution by the Kano State Executive Council on March 9, 2020 for alleged insubordination. He was confined to Nasarawa until his release on March 13, 2020, following an interim order by Justice Anwulu Chikere of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Chikere fixed November 30th after entertaining the final argument from lawyers representing parties in the Fundamental Right Enforcement suit. Responding in the suit are the Inspector General of Police, IGP, the Director General of the State Security Service, SSS, the Attorney General of Kano State, and the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF. Sanusi's lead counsel, Abubakar Mahmoud, SAN, told the court that the case was not a chieftaincy matter because his client was not challenging his deposition. The lawyer said his client's complaint was about the way he was shabbily treated after his deposition. Coalition of the civil society groups have called on the Central Bank of Nigeria governor to suspend the activities of burial de change operators and supply money to the commercial banks. The group who made the call during a protest in Abuja said burial de change operators exploit and inflate dollars and naira exchange in the country. Correspondent Linda Ike reports that President of the group, Mr. Etu Williams, condemned the economic sabotage in the forex market, noting that the disparity between the official bank exchange rate for dollar and naira is creating inflation in Nigeria. While calling for more support for the leadership of CBN, Williams commended the Apex Bank effort to salvage the naira, the move to stop illicit.
We are not protesting against Saboki FS. What we are simply saying is that they should allow the policies of the CBN to drive the forex market. What we are saying is that there is no justification for dollar to be sold in the bank for about 400 and something naira, and in the parallel market is over 500,000 naira. From our cursory analysis, we found out that these BDS people go to the bank, purchase this dollar with frivolous claims and make dollar not available in the bank. And when people go to purchase, they'll find out that there are no more dollars in the bank. They are now compelled to go to the parallel market. Of course, you go there and you get it at a very exorbitant price. What we're not saying is that allow the policy of the CBN to drive the economy. Do not influence it. Influencing it is generating crisis, and that's why I found out that the dollar exchange rate is skyrocketing, and we are not comfortable with. And what I'm saying that the CBN has made efforts, even in the era of the COVID-19, to create policies to make sure that the common man have a way of surviving through the Anchor Borrowers program, through the interventions in the industrial sector. They made effort, tremendous effort, and we can see a lot of people are celebrating them being lucky to have gotten the grants and the loans of the Central Bank of Nigeria. We are saying that people who went to say that the CBN governor is not performing, we are saying no. From the indices we have, he has performed, and they should allow the president program in conjunction with the Central Bank of Nigeria to drive the Nigerian economy.
And as such, we state very clearly here that the anti-Nigerian people, those who want to destroy this government, should be brought to book. Those who involve themselves in illicit financial transactions should be brought to book today. We know a very popular one that the CBN government noted at the just concluded MPC. That popular criminal is called Aboki FX. And we are saying today that the CBN should not relent in fighting Aboki FX and his cohorts, and all of us should be brought to book. Am I saying the land of the Nigerian people? We're also going to make it emphatically clear that enough of dollar and tripping, enough of dollar racketeering. These people involved in these criminal activities should be brought to book. They should be made to face the wrath of the law. They should not let them go scot-free. Enough is enough. This set of people are sabotage to the Nigerian economy.
As preparation continues for Nigeria's 61 independence anniversary, the Lagos State government has called for unity and prayer among Nigerians for the progress and development of the country. The state deputy governor, Obafemi Amzat, made the call on Friday during the special Jumet service held to commemorate the 2021 Nigerian Independence Anniversary celebration at the Lagos State Secretariat Central Mosque in Alausa, Ikeja. It challenged Nigerians to embrace the spirit of love and unity in all their human interactions, especially in view of the diverse ethnicity in the nation. The Commissioner for Home Affairs, Olarewaju Elegushi, stressed the need for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. He also urged the citizens to pray for the nation while hoping for a better future.
Let's sign up for constitutional democracy. So when you have issues, you go to court. And so we shouldn't, it's not a fight. It's just a discussion, and the court will adjudicate. So, but the court has said we should maintain status quo. What that means is whoever is collecting now should keep collecting until they give judgment. So we must all abide by the law. We have a constitution. So, and we are all guided by that constitution. So within that confine of the constitution, if any state, any local government, anybody, any individual has a different opinion, you go to court for the interpretation of that constitution.
To mark the independence of Nigeria, and because we realize that the only thing that can see us through is prayer, and that is what we've done now. You can see various imams from our various local governments. We gather together and offer prayer. It takes two to tango. If we want to really see a change in the nation, the government will play its own role, and the people too will play their own role. But I want to believe it is very easy for us to achieve the change in government. but it is difficult to achieve that behavioral change of our people. So it takes two to tango. Both government and the people must come together so that we can have this nation very.
Osun State government has presented merit and distinguished award to 28 citizens in recognition of their exceptional productivity and contributions to the socio-economic development of the state and humanity. The awards were presented to the recipients during a banquet and award ceremony held in Osogbo to commemorate the state's 30th anniversary. The presentations were in 4 categories, namely Osun Merit Award, Osun Distinguished Citizen Award, Legacy Award, and Lifetime Achievement Award. One of the honorees, an elder statesman, Chief B.C. Akonde, and Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, commended the state government for recognizing the services and labors of the former governors and others. Chief B.C. Akonde, who noted that the position of power is full of ups and downs, said the gesture will serve as inspiration to others to strive to contribute to the progress and development of the state. In his closing remarks, Governor Gboyega Oyetola said the honor is in recognition of the recipient, services to the state, the nation, and humanity in general. The governor noted that state building requires collective effort of all irrespective of political differences as he urged all to commit resources and strength for greater tomorrow of the state. The recipients of the award include former Chief of Defense Staff, retired General Alani Akinriade, General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, a philanthropist and entrepreneur for Lorunsho Alakija, the State Force former military administrator Leo Shegun Ajiborisha, and a host of others. The event was graced by the Alaafin of Oyo Minister for Sport and Youth Development, Sunday Dare, representative of governors of Ogun, Ekiti, and Lagos State, and a host of dignitaries from different states.
Cannot be compared to the life of a man. 30 years is very small in the life of a state, and 30 years of Osun State has shown significant appearance of development, and I'm happy and satisfied.
Yes, it's worth celebrating, and I think this has been a very wonderful celebration, having identified those who built the founding fathers of this state and those who have contributed to development of this state, and they are now being given awards. I think it's worth it, and I think the government is doing very well. I'm sure this state will turn around totally, because the state is in a very good hands now, and you can see changes in what is happening in the state.
ABD is a collective enterprise. Therefore, we must all, more than ever before, put our collective strength to work, irrespective of political differences and sentiment, for a greater tomorrow. We must consider it as an urgent task to galvanize our diverse strengths, goodwill, and resources to chart a pathway that delivers the Osun of our dream.
That's all from the national scene. We go on a break. When we come back, we bring you a report from the international scene. Please stay tuned. You're watching Mitv Primetime News. Now to foreign stories. The Taliban's notorious former head of religious police has said extreme punishments such as executions and amputations will resume in Afghanistan. Mullah Nuruddin Turabe, now in charge of prisons, told AP News amputations were necessary for security. He said this punishment may not be meted out in public as they were under previous Taliban rule in the 1990s. But to dismiss outrage over their past public executions, no one would tell us what our laws should be. Since taking power in Afghanistan on 15th of August, the Taliban have been promising a milder form of rule than in their previous tenure. But there have already been several reports of human rights abuses carried out across the country. 2 men posing as lawyers shot dead a notorious gangster inside a courtroom in India's capital, Delhi. They opened fire at Jitendra Mangoge inside the courtroom in Rohini, where a case was being heard against him. Officials say police returned fire, killing the 2 men. Police suspect a rival gang planned the attack. Gogi was on Delhi police most wanted list, and he was also accused in dozens of cases, including murder, kidnapping and fraud in other states. The incident has raised question over the security of Delhi's court. A senior politician said that the incident showed serious lapses in security planning. Gogi was arrested in Delhi in March last year on charges of murder and extortion. A Chinese technology executive held in Canada on U.S. fraud charges could be freed as early as Friday after prosecutors said an extradition request against her would be dropped. Meng Wanzhou, chief financial officer of Huawei, was detained in December 2018 at the request of the U.S. The two sides agreed that all charges would eventually be dropped. The case sparked an international row, straining China's relation with the U.S. and Canada. It has been the subject of intense negotiations between U.S. and China's diplomat. The U.S. alleged Ms. Meng misled the bank HSBC over the true nature of Huawei's relationship with a company called Skycom, putting the bank at risk of violating U.S. sanctions against Iran. On Friday, the U.S. Department of Justice said it had reached a deferred prosecution agreement. And up next is sports stories. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching the Mitv Primetime News. Now talking sport. Barcelona coach Ronald Koeman on Friday escaped with a minimum 2-match ban as punishment for his red card the previous evening when Barcelona drawn 0-0 at Cadiz. The Spanish Football Federation disciplinary opted to hand the Dutchman the shortest permitted suspension after its sending off in the final minute for arguing with officials as 10-men Barcelona limped to a goalless draw. Referee Carlos Del Gero Grande wrote in his report that Coleman was sent off for protesting to the fourth official in an ostentatious manner, with his hands raised, shouting and leaving the technical area complaining, "Hey, the referee has to whistle. The referee has to whistle. Damn it, he has to whistle," even though he had already been warned by the fourth official to stop protesting at the referee's decision. Coleman wanted play stopped because there were 2 balls on the pitch. Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel says Saturday game with champions Manchester City is not about his rivalry with Pep Guardiola. Tuchel has beaten City boss Guardiola in their past 3 meetings, including last season Champions League final. League leaders Chelsea host 5th-place City on Saturday, but the German would not be drawn on comparisons between the managers. Chelsea are unbeaten in their opening 5 games, but they will be without inflation midfielder Mason Mount. Tuchel says he was unaware the England international was playing with an injury during the side's midweek win over Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup. Anthony Joshua weighed in 19 pounds heavier than Alexander Usyk ahead of the defense of his WBA, IBF and WBO heavyweight titles in London on Saturday. Britain's Joshua 31 tipped the scales at 240 pounds, that is 109 kilograms, with the Ukrainian challenger coming in at a career high 221.25 pounds. The two combatants had an intense stare down before smash broke out, and Joshua accepted Usyk's offer of a handshake. Each fighter then turned to face the assembled media and a small crowd that had gathered at London's O2 Arena. Taking turns to flex their muscles, Joshua pointing to Usyk, who then reciprocated. As well as his weight advantage, Joshua will have the edge in height and reach his favorite with bookmakers, but Usyk's movement and overall technical skill set from an outward southpaw stance have led many seasoned observers to predict a close contest. Joshua believes he is in the best shape and at the optimum way to successfully defend his titles. And just before we end the primetime news tonight, a quick recap of our top stories. President Buhari canvasses debt cancellation at Onga. From the foreign scene, Huawei's Meng Wanzhou to be freed in U.S. deal. Talk and sport. Anthony Joshua, Usyk intends stare down ahead of heavyweight fight. And with that, we draw the curtain on the primetime news tonight. I am Teresa Adeyemi. Thanks for joining us. Do have a great night. Good night.